of Raidernation? It's your boy Samoanraider back at it again with another episode of the Samoanraider Show, episode 3 of the season. I told you guys before I want to continue to do this every single week, and I think I'm gonna do it on, I guess, every single Wednesday night if that works with everybody. I'm gonna bring guests on, like I got a guest today, which we'll get to in just a little bit. But today, we got a lot of things to talk about. First, Jakobi Meyers speaks up for the very first time since requesting a trade, and he basically said that the Raiders denied his chances of getting a contract extension, at least for now. We're also going to go over the Raiders' official depth chart going into week 1 versus the Patriots. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the upcoming matchup versus the Patriots. But that being said, I want to acknowledge the chat real quick. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Chemo. I see Mr. Tombstone up in here. Andrew, Steven, Mark. Yes, sir. Let's go. The fuck you mean denied? Well, I guess the Raiders basically said that. Jakobi Meyers said that he asked for his contract extension. They said no. They don't believe that he deserves one just yet. Who knows if the Raiders are actually going to give him contract extension yet? But we'll just have to wait and see. So what does this mean? Is he still going to play on Sunday? He ain't gonna talk to me. I think that he's still gonna be there. He's still showing up to training camp right now. I mean, not training camp. He's still showing up to practice. He said that he's still gonna be here. He's not gonna hold out, but he's gonna be there on Sunday. As far as right now. But before that, without further ado, I want to bring my special guest on for today. We're gonna talk about all of this with none other than the Joe Morley. What's good, Oos?
What's going on?
Man, we chilling, man. We chilling.
Baby.
You ready, Oos? I'm kind of excited, Oos. We got game. This is game week. Finally, week 1. We've been hyping this team up. Well, I don't know if you've been hyping this team up as much as I've been hyping this team up, but we finally get to see if this Pete Carroll team can finally put things together. But first and foremost, like I said, man, how you doing? How you feeling about this week?
I'm feeling good. Like all the emotions from last season is coming back, right? Like it's week 1 and you're like, I'm ready to be hurt again. Like that's how I'm feeling. Like, here we go, putting it all on the table and see put our chips in and let's go. But week 1, like you got to be excited, but I've thrown some stuff out there and people I think their hatred for Josh McDaniels is all coming out this week, but we'll see. Like this is the redemption game against Josh McDaniels. This is the first game of the Pete Carroll era. There's a lot of things involved in this game that we can be excited about, and I just hope it goes the way that we want it to go.
No, yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm excited, and I think it's just because right now we're 0-0, and we're all tied up. They haven't disappointed me yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. And hopefully, this is not the week that they do. But shout out to Raiders Resistance up in the chat, man. He said that the locker room convinced Jakobi to stay and play. And that's true. He said that today, and he also said that I believe in Joe Morley. So hey, we all believe in Joe.
Resistance, hell yeah.
Say his name and he will appear. But shout out to Steven. I see. Hey, I see who's. We're gonna be heard again for sure. Nah, come on, man. He is not that good. Nobody wanted to trade for him and give him money. I don't know. But I think that goes straight into our next point. Of course, I want to talk about Jakobi Meyers, right? Of course, Jakobi Meyers has been asking for a contract extension. You've seen this team. We've been giving a lot of players contract extensions. Colton Miller, right? Daniel Carlson, AJ Cole, Max Crosby. The list goes on and on and on. I wanted to ask you a little bit about Jakobi Meyers and how you feel about the whole situation right now. So,
last year was his best.
Reports about
my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah. My bad. No, last year was his best offensive season, right? So,
yeah.
Like, I understand what he wants. He went through a shitty-ass season. His teammate, Davante Adams, quit on him. And so he became the number 1 guy, getting killed on the field with AOC, the GOAT AOC, and Gardner Minshew throwing him some balls. And Jakobi, Jakobi has been quiet about it. He's been a team player, and that's different than what we were used to. But, I mean, just for people that haven't seen what he said today, this is good to listen to. And this is where you find out that I don't think he's being a diva. Like, when he signed that deal, New England screwed him over. When he left New England, they offered whatever he took, the 3 years, $33 million deal that he took with us. New England said, no, you're not worth that. Then they took that and gave that to Juju Smith-Schuster, the same damn deal, and he
That's
ended up playing on
true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
the same exact deal. And so Jakobi's always like he's not. Let's put this on the table. He's not a number one wide receiver, but he's a great complementary wide receiver out there, and that's where I think the Raiders are trying to figure out where to really compensate him at and how much of really he's going to fit in. And they drafted a wide receiver that basically is here to come take his spot in Jack Bench.
Yeah, that's true. And you bring up a lot of good points because, yeah, Jakobi has always put his head down and continued to go out there and just play. And no matter the situation, and of course, with Devontae Adams and that whole thing going down, he still put his head down and went out there and had the best season that he had. And I know that's especially after the season that he had. I feel like he does want to get that money because who knows if he's going to have that same exact type of season this year with all the weapons that we have now, right? So Jakobi, I just love the fact that he's just still over there at practice, still putting his head down and doing his work. But you can tell by today, which I'm gonna play in just a little bit, we got to hear from him. He doesn't seem too happy, but he's still not gonna complain about it and still show up. And that's all you can ask. I mean, Colton Miller was going through that same situation as well. So it's good to see that some of these players not really hold out, but still showing up. And hopefully we could get a deal. But Jakobi basically said that he's not really confident in getting that, but we'll have to wait and see. That being said, let's kind of go over and look at what he said today. Let's see.
There were reports about asking for a trade. Where are things with that, and how do you separate the business side from going out there?
I asked, they said no, and that's kind of that's where that stopped. But I mean, I'm just keep doing my job until something shake out either way, honestly. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'll be ready for whatever.
Are you pretty confident that something will work out here?
I wouldn't say I'm pretty confident. Like I said, I really don't know where it's going to go. But I know, like I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to go if you want me to go. I'm ready to play if you need me to play. So.
Are you happy here?
Am I happy? It's a job, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I'm happy to be doing my job with my boys, but I could be happy anywhere.
Everybody knows the kind of worker you are, what you do every day. Like, how hard is it to do that, knowing that there's business things that you're like, well, that's not being taken care of. Like, what am I doing on my side?
I mean, it's not too hard, honestly, because I spend most of my time in here or on the field. So it's out of my mind until probably for like 30 minutes of my day. I'm like, hold on, I didn't get paid yet. But for the most part, like, I'm cool. Like, I'm chilling.
Once a game starts Sunday, do you feel like the business stuff is kind of like done? Like, is it off season for business and seasons for something else, or does that continue?
Nah, it don't. I mean, for me, it don't stop. Like, I'm still pushing to take care of my family every day. So if it stopped for them, I mean, I'm gonna have to bring it back up or something. But nah, for me, it ain't dead yet. I'm gonna keep fighting until Pete said compete. So that's what I'm doing.
Sir. So, like, I want to ask you that. Like, after hearing that, like, how do you feel about his stance with the team? Because it kind of sounds like he's not happy, but he's still gonna do his job at the end of the day. I like that girl. She was like, "Are you happy with the team?" He was like, "Bro, it's a job, bro. I'd be happy anywhere." But how you feel?
I mean, I like the interview. I like that he's still showing up. Like that's the proper way to do it because everybody that's held out doesn't really work out well. And look, at the end of the day, it is a business in the NFL, and you have to get your money. And I mean, we're acting like $11 million, $14 million is nothing, right? Like, hey, I got to feed my kids, and I'm only getting $14 million. Like that's the part that the fans are like, what? What are you talking about? But I mean, like you said, it is a business, and he's not the only wide receiver to do it this year. There's tons of wide receivers, but the question is, like, you're seeing all these non-quarterbacks getting paid. The Cleveland Browns screwed over the NFL basically this year when they paid Myles Garrett that $40 million. That opened the door to just everybody. And that right there is where you're seeing it. And now all these wide receivers, they want their money. And Jakobi's, we got to figure out where Jakobi falls in the spot, right? And when you're looking at like Jamar Chase just got a new deal. He's making what, $40 million a year annually. He's the top of the line guy. Where's Jakobi after that? Not there, right? So like looking through all these and the next, like Jerry Jeudy is making $17 million a year. Jerry Jeudy and Jakobi Meyers, I can see that. But are we going to go over $20 million for Jakobi? I don't know. And the rate right now, Jacoby's the number 4 in terms of cap value on the contract on our cap right now. He's the top 4 player, the number 4 player in terms of value of his contract on the Raiders. And John Spytek and Pete Carroll are looking like, hey, we didn't bring Jakobi in here. He's not our guy.
Yeah,
we're going to use him, but we want to see if we actually going to fit into this Chip Kelly offense. We're going to see what else we're going to do. We drafted some young guys that could take a spot, and we can use this money somewhere else.
Yeah. No, yeah, and you're absolutely right, man. I see a lot of people in the chat as well, man. Shout out to Kmo. He says he doesn't want to get Josh Jacob, and I think that's totally different from Josh Jacobs' situation. Only for the fact that Josh Jacobs was a homegrown talent, and like Joe said, that Jakobi got brought on over here by a different regime, and does he deserve the money? I feel like he deserves to get his contract extension, right? Would you agree with me on that or no? I just would. The only thing is, I wouldn't give him Jamar Chase money. I wouldn't pay him like a top wide receiver 1. And if that's what he's asking for, then I'm cool with staying off of that and giving him all that extra money. But to pay him and just to respect him, give him a couple extra mils, then yeah. Outside of that, I don't think so. But what do you think? Because Brianna brought it up.
I would make him more happy this year. I would give him more money, $5-6 million more this year, because we have. Let's face it, we have some money right now sitting in our cap. I would make him happy this year. A long-term extension, I'm not 100% sold on it. I like what Jakobi Meyers doing, but I want to see how the offense does this year and how the young guys play before I make an investment into somebody. Because there was rumors out there, and I don't know, we don't know how much this is true, but there was rumors out there that there was only one team that really called the Raiders and asked them, hey, we'll take Jakobi Meyers, but we want you to pay half the salary. So really, some teams don't even value Jakobi Meyers as much as he's valuing himself right now. And like you said, if he was on any other team, he wouldn't be number 1 on the depth chart.
That's true.
Just being honest right there.
Yeah. Do you feel the fact that bringing on somebody like Amari Cooper to this team, that affects how the Raiders feel about him, or being okay with moving on from him?
I still don't know why the Raiders brought on Amari Cooper. It has to be for a veteran presence in that room with their young wide receivers, like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Or maybe they thought maybe Jakobi was actually going to hold out, and like you said, maybe the locker room convinced him to stay, so maybe he was going to hold out, so that's why they brought in Amari Cooper. But I don't. Amari Cooper is not here to take Jakobi Meyers' spot. He signed a 1-year deal. He's here because Pete Carroll wants to win now, and he looked at the wide receivers and was like, "Hey, these guys aren't progressing as much as we thought they were during training camp. We need to go get a veteran." And really, there's a lot of question marks about Amari Cooper before we can even start this season.
Yeah, you don't think that he's gonna ball out, be the same Amari Cooper that we seen before he left?
He has the potential.
Yeah.
But this is the same Amari Cooper that couldn't beat out Matt Collin in Buffalo last year. That was you know what I mean? There's things where players fall out of love with the game and they get in a bad situation. And when you got a coach like Pete Carroll, which we haven't seen this in a while, but players want to do it, and Pete Carroll brings the best out of you and he gets you to compete. Sometimes you bring that energy back, and that's what we're hoping from Amari Cooper, and that's what we're hoping from. We're hoping from that, not just from Amari Cooper, but a lot of our older players like Jamal Adams, Devin White, all these older guys. We're hoping that Pete Carroll can bring that last bit of energy out of them. But this wide receiver room, it was funny because I talked about this during training camp, where I said I was worried about our wide receiver room, and everybody's like, "Don't worry, man, we got this. We got this wide receiver room."
I was one of those guys.
And it just makes me seem like when they brought in Amari Cooper, it just makes me seem like the Raiders aren't even happy with their own wide receiver room right now.
Yeah, that is true though. And I'm surprised that they did bring him on. I'm happy that he's here, just nostalgic purposes, right? Just having him back over here. And I feel like he provides that veteran presence, at least to the locker room, because we do have some young wide receivers here that I don't think the Raiders want to put too much on their shoulders to go out there. Of course, Dante Thornton is a guy that we've been hearing a lot of great things about, but we have to see, and Jack Besh, who we drafted in the second round, you know, I haven't heard too much about him, but he's another guy that we're banking on to go out there and show out, right? Especially in the wide receiver room. I don't feel like we have a wide receiver one on the team, even with Jakobi Meyers. And I see somebody in here saying that he's not asking for that much. He just has no guaranteed money for the year, which I understand. And I know a lot of players, they want that guaranteed money. You've seen what's his face? Heck, Max Crosby wanted guarantee money this year. I mean, the last 3 years he's been getting extensions. So I totally understand that point. And whether or not he is, I see somebody else. I don't know if true or not that his agent's asking for 25 plus mil. Hell no. Yeah. Hell no. He ain't worth 25. He barely even worth 16. I'd give him 16. I'd be cool with that. But anything up above that, then I don't know, man. Because and I heard somebody kind of talk about this as well. Like he's trying to like bank off of what he did last year because he knows that, like you said, if he went anywhere else, he's not going to get that much receptions, or he can. You never know for a team that doesn't have a number one. But what he did last year was the first time he's ever done it in his career, and he looked like a dominant wide receiver and had 0% drop passes or drop receptions, whatever that is. That also plays a part in it as well. So I do believe that he deserves that contract extension. I hope that they do get it done. I know that he's just going to be out there and continue to show, but I just don't want it to turn into a situation where at the end of the day, he's just like, I don't want to be here anymore, which I highly doubt. But he could be if the Raiders don't get a deal done by the trade deadline, and depending how the Raiders are doing at that time, especially Jakobi, he could be a guy that could be on the trade block. I could see that happening, but I hope it doesn't happen though. But
Well, it all depends on how the young guys play, how they perform, how our team is performing on the field. If we're losing, if we're a 500 or below team by trade deadline, of course you're going to trade off your asset and get something for him. But what if Dante Thornton becomes that wide receiver that we're all hoping that he becomes, right?
yeah,
And now you're looking at Jacoby and you're like, well, and then Trey Tucker is actually used correctly this year, and we have the two guys because basically what Jacoby is he's basically Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer are going to be across the middle, and then we have our two little fast guys or big fast guys in Dante,
yeah,
but we have our two burners, and Jacoby's going to be a possession guy, but really Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer could do that job for us. So
exactly.
it's that's the old Raiders. I think that's what we have to get in our head. Our old Raiders would have already signed him to an extension. They would have gave Jakobi big Myers just big money already, and they would have been like, "Here you go, dude. We're ready to go." That's the old Raiders. The new Raiders are like, "What can you do for me now? We understand what you did last year. What can you do for us now? Where we're going forward, and we're going to spend this money correctly. And if you don't work out, we're not afraid to get you out of here."
Yeah, that's true. And to a lot of people's points in here, shout out to Matt, the good stuff, everybody over here. Or who our number one wide receiver right now is technically Brock Bowers. And I see that as well. It is, Brock Bowers, the guy that Joe didn't want to draft. But, I think with the offense that we have right now, we have so many weapons that we don't have to worry about bringing in Jakobi Meyers. I just don't want to move on from him just because we're going into the season. I feel like we've already got the offense kind of together and that camaraderie going that I just want to keep him happy just to stay and just everybody go out there and ball out. I just hope it doesn't turn into that situation where we just are forced to move on from him or he just doesn't show up, which I highly doubt. But yeah, Brock Bowers.
We don't need the drama. We don't need the drama.
Huh?
We don't need drama.
But some way, somehow, it was like every year we always got some drama somewhere, man. Christian Wilkins this year, man. Devontae Adams last year, dog. It's crazy.
Well, if Jacoby went around and kissed everybody on the forehead, it would be all right right
now. we'd be raging right now.
Hey, but since you touched on it, let me touch on it real quick. The Brock Bowers pick had me like people saw my reaction. It went viral. It's not that I didn't want Brock Bowers. It's when we were building the team with Antonio Pierce and we were building a team with Tom Telesco, that didn't work out. But at that time, we were building a hard nose, run the ball, hit everybody as hard as we can on defense. and we took a tight end, a finesse tight end, and that's what I'm like. What the hell? When every defensive player was on the board at that time,
Yeah, true.
and I would have took a defensive tackle. I would have took any of the two cornerbacks that worked out pretty damn well, right? And now we're looking at like, oh damn, are our cornerback position any well? That's the thing. Like when you're looking at the draft, you're looking at that's the reaction that I had was not. It's not like people are always like, you hate Brock Bowers, you hate Ashton Jeanty. No, it's not that. It's that I'm looking at the bigger picture. Like you know what I mean. You're looking at the bigger. Like most teams build their team from the offense and defensive line, and they work their way out. Right. That's how championship teams have built it. The Raiders have been. Their roster has been turned over multiple times with multiple regimes coming in here trying to put their own twist on it. And now we're basically building from the outside in with our specialties, our running backs and everything, and then going towards the offensive line. And we're going to be like, okay, now we'll work on that. So it's kind of different of how this team has been assembled.
Yeah. And do you feel more confident? Like, well, I agree with you to that point, because I think not only you, but there were a lot of other fans and Raider fans. You guys got to be honest with yourself. A lot of people were surprised with the Brock Bowers pick, not because he was a bad player. It's just we expected something different. Whether it was getting I was on the quarterback train, like whether it was Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, whoever dropped down to us or us even moving up. Quarterback was number one for sure. With AP going into a new regime and everything, I was mad that we didn't do that. But after that, it was getting a cornerback. Like Christian Gonzalez was there that I was really high on. Everything outside of a tight end because we had Michael Mayer. But after the season that he had, I agree with you. You know, we got to give him his kudos, and he did a great job last year. It didn't amount to wins, and that's what a lot of people tend to forget. Even with all the crazy stats and all the crazy things that he was doing, we had our worst season here in Vegas. Literally, our worst season here. So stats are cool, but wins are better, right? Especially for a Raiders team that we just want more. And well, looking at it now with the roster that we've got around Brock Bowers offensively now, you add Ashton Jeanty, you got Geno Smith, you got a lot of weapons here that I feel like the Raiders offense should, and no doubt, put up a lot of points this year. And now that Brock Bowers pick looks better this year. It didn't look good last year, but this year it looks a lot better, especially when you add a guy like Ashton Jeanty to the roster as well. But that being said, did you look at the depth chart? Did you see the Raiders depth chart at all?
I have looked at it, yes.
Is there any of them that stand out to you? Like any? Because I feel like a lot of them is basically the same as what they announced, but I feel like there were a couple of surprises in there. But I wanted to hand it off to you first to see if there was anyone that stood out to you.
Well, I think the main one that stood out was Blue, right? Being the starting cornerback.
Kelly, yeah.
But I'm trying to like wrap my head around it and see if it really is that he's a starter, because everything that's coming out is that they're going to switch that opening starter out. I think they're going to put Darian Porter in.
That's
they're
what I
gonna
heard.
Move people around in. So I think they have a name on the depth chart. We'll see who actually starts that week or whatever, or this week. Because I think Darian Porter is going to get a lot of playing time. I think they're going to switch it in and out. And so that was the one that got me. And then the one I did like, we could finally say, like, stop crying a little bit. Like, hey, Raidernation, stop crying. Because everybody cried about the Jakobi Bennett trade, right? We got a number one defensive tackle. Like, Thomas Booker is now the number one guy on our depth chart. Like, he's he's our starting defensive tackle. So, and what have the Raiders had a hard time stopping? Like, for the longest time, we can't stop the damn run in the middle. Or when Max Crosby and Kuntz are rushing the quarterback and they're going off the edge, right? What do the quarterbacks normally do? Step right up, because our defensive tackle they're not there.
Yeah.
So now we finally have two good defensive tackles in the middle that could help us out, help Max Crosby, help the defensive line. And we could say what we want about Bennett, but at the time, Bennett was our fourth to fifth cornerback on this depth chart. If he's a number one somewhere else, cool for him. But at this time, we got a defensive tackle for it, and I'm happy for that. We got a big game this weekend where we need to stop the run. They have three damn good running backs on this Patriot team, and they're gonna test our defensive line right away.
No, for sure. First off, I think somebody in the chat said, "Oh, Kmo." He said, "Oh, so you are super anti Bo Nix. Oh, stop the cap, Oos. Stop the cap, Oos." I was on all the quarterbacks coming into. Everybody say he was a set. Look, you can look at my Instagram. I drafted this dude a couple of times in the second and even the first round in my mock draft. So don't play with my name right now. Oos. No, but I agree with you. It's like I think Kyle Blue Kelly for sure stands out. And hearing what I guess Pete Carroll said today, he's going to be working his way. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to be the guy, but Darian Porter is one guy that stood out to me that didn't start or is not in the starting roster. But we'll see what happens. You know, we've seen a lot of flashes from Kyle Blue Kelly in preseason here and there, making some big plays. But let's see if that translates to the regular season. Of course, I was going to talk about Thomas Booker as well. You know, we brought him on over here, and a lot of people were saying, you know, this is the guy that was buried in the depth chart. Why did we trade for like a third, fourth string defensive tackle? But you got to think about it, man. The Eagles, man, they got a solid ass defensive line, especially the depth there. And from everything that I've been hearing, that's what made me feel more better. When I talked about it in a video, I went live. A lot of Eagle fans were telling me, or like even commenting, like, you guys got a good one. Like Thomas Booker is good. He just hasn't had that opportunity yet. And that's something that Pete Carroll and them seen and brought over here. And hopefully he could turn into that, you know, a guy that could come over here and just help out the defensive line. Somebody like Adam Butler, who we didn't expect to have a significant role on this team a couple of years ago when we brought him over here. But I'm excited to see what he does over here. And I'm just kind of salty a little bit because he's starting over my cousin Jonah. But you know, Jonah's still gonna have a big role. You know, he's gonna be a rotational defensive tackle as well. So I'm excited to see what happens there. We still got Jakobi Meyers in the starting lineup because he's still on the roster, and as of right now, he's gonna be playing on Sunday. So I want to see what happens. Hey, you know what would be funny is if Jakobi does the opposite of what he did to us a couple of years ago. Like it comes down to the last play, and he just throws the ball back to the Patriots, and they win. He says, "Man, fuck you guys, bro. Give me my money right now." And that'd be funny. That would be hella funny. It was like some shit. Like it comes down to the last play. Geno Smith finds him in the end zone, drop. It's like what the fuck. But I don't know, man.
Don't even put that on us. Don't even put that on us.
I'll be surprised. I'll be hella surprised. Let me get into the chat real quick right now because I know a lot of people are a lot of people are talking. Let's see, Pats. Oh, they're talking about the Pats game, which we're gonna get into in just a little bit. AJ Simpson says Blue has started reps in this league when he was drafted by the Ravens. He'll be a starter for the game. Porter was a stud on teams in college. That's where he'll earn his reps on defense. Yeah, like I said, you know, Kyle Blue Kelly right now, he's got the nod. So we'll see what happens on Sunday if he really lives up to that, or we'll have to go out there because I feel like honestly, the cornerback position is the one that I'm hella sus on. Like that secondary, but mainly the cornerback position because we got Eric Stokes. We barely got to see him in the preseason. Kyle Blue Kelly. Outside of that, we got Darian Porter, Darnay Holmes. Not really a lot of players that really scare a lot of people. But as long as the defensive line does their job, I think we should be okay, to be honest.
Yeah, I've argued with people about this a lot, and everybody's worried about defensive backs. And I go, what's the defensive back's best friend? The defensive line, the pass rush.
That's true.
If you can get there and get in the quarterback's face and not have these defensive backs holding for 3 to 5 seconds, then you're good. You're like, if Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz and these guys can do their damn job and get there, it's going to help our defensive backs. Like,
yeah.
Just a couple of years ago, you saw it in San Francisco. San Francisco had some shitty defensive backs. Sorry. But they had a great defensive line that went at it, right? They had a defensive line that just tore up offensive lines. They had a great rotation there. And then I think that's what people are forgetting. Your boy Lalu, where did he come from? Indianapolis. Why did he get cut? Because they had too much depth on that defensive line. We sucked them up. Thomas Booker, from a great defensive line, soaked them up. That's the good thing. That's scouting. That's something that you're looking around the league. You're trying to find guys that are great players that were just in bad situations. And that's one thing when we're talking about our Raider roster this year, and people are like, "Well, we have a depth. We have a really good loaded roster." And then you see all the people that we cut, the 20 plus players that we cut. not one of them got claimed, right? Or right away. Like you're like,
Yeah,
wasn't that great, right? Our depth wasn't there yet. So
true.
once we start seeing that we have to make these difficult cuts, that's when we know that our team has truly, truly turned around.
No, for sure. Hey, you make a good point. I almost thought that Lucky Tassi was gonna get claimed, but ain't nobody wanted that. but it also showed in preseason. It was like after that first, like those last two games, right? After our starting unit went off, offensively and defensively, we looked like a horrible. We looked like a high school team out there. To be honest with you, it was, heck, Cam Miller basically barely made it back onto the team. But like I agree with you on that though. Niels says Philadelphia and the Giants, when they won the Super Bowl, pushed the depth of the pocket into the quarterback's lap. And you make a good point. Like Joe said, as long as the defensive line is doing their part and they put a lot of pressure on that quarterback, man, we could do a lot of great things. We've seen this defense do that when we played the Chiefs on Christmas Day. It was like they were just in Patrick Mahomes' face the whole time. They literally won the game for us. And ironically, AOC's the last quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in what the fuck is it called? I don't what's there? What's the thing? Arrowhead. Last, and he only completed 3 passes. What does that tell you? And we got to put a lot of trust into that defensive line, news. And I honestly can say that I got a lot of trust in this defensive line. As long as everybody can stay healthy, of course, Max is going to be Max. But having Malcolm Kuntz here, Tyree Wilson here, Adam Butler, Jonah Laulu, Thomas Booker now over here, shit, like he fought to, come on now. But I feel like the defensive line, if they do their job, we should be good.
Yeah, Charles Snowden should make a step forward this year.
Yeah, Charles Snowden. I forgot about Charles Snowden. Yeah, he did a great.
Now Malcolm Kuntz, we haven't seen him go 100%, and it's worried me a little bit because we haven't seen him at training camp. He wasn't going 100%. In the preseason game, he hasn't gone 100%. That's a significant injury that he's coming back from, and we got to see him take that big step forward. But like you said, we've seen the steps that like I said, that Snowden has taken. We've seen. I know people hate it, but Tyree Wilson has got a lot of hate. But Tyree Wilson, when we drafted him, when the Raiders drafted him, I know like I wanted Christian Gonzalez. A lot of people wanted Jalen Carter. They went with Tyree Wilson, who was the developmental player. And we knew when you took him, like he has the size, he has the speed, he has everything else, but it was going to take the process to get him up to speed. He had that foot injury his first year. Now we're finally seeing what Tyree Wilson can do, and they've been moving him inside and outside on the defensive line. And if he can play defensive tackle, with next to Max Crosby, next to these guys on third downs and rush the quarterback, Tyree Wilson should have a good season.
Hella, bro. And people forget, and like that first year he got drafted, we weren't expecting him to like play too much. We had Chandler Jones, who we thought was gonna be with Max Crosby for years, and he was gonna teach, Tyree Wilson, but he got put right into the fire right when Chandler Jones started to go loco. But I'm expecting a lot of great things out of Tyree Wilson, and I hope it pays off, because that just means that the Raiders did good in the first round for one, for a first time, right? I'm excited just to see what this team can do. Of course, we're hyping up this defense and this defensive line, and I feel like we kind of do that every year until the season starts, because we remember we got Christian Wilkins last year. And funny thing, you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but Fitz hella jinxed us. He said, "Oh man, this is the year of the snake. It's not a good year for Christian Wilkins." I said, "Man, don't put that on us, just for this to all this shit to start crashing down."
Fitz was like, "Yeah, the numbers, Christian Wilkins' number and the year don't match up. He's going to get in trouble or something this year.
He said
or
that,
he's going to have an injury." He told us as soon as they signed Christian Wilkins, because I was a big I'm going to tell you right now, I was excited when we got Christian Wilkins.
Same, bro.
He is a great player. But when you get paid, sometimes your head goes a different way. But
and your lips go a different way too.
let's speak to this. But I think one position that we're kind of overlooking is our linebacker position this year. Finally, the Raiders have emphasized on the linebacker position. Yes, people are going to be like, and you're going to see the beloved Robert Spillane this weekend in New England wearing the other jersey. But I think Raider fans are going to fall in love with one guy this weekend, Elandon Roberts. When you see this guy, and you see the way he stops the run, and he goes out there and just lays hits, I think that's going to be there. I want to see how White plays. I want to see how Jamal Adams is used. And who's our other linebacker that we have out there? Pratt's a great
Oh,
linebacker
Jermaine
too.
Pratt. Yep,
They
Devin
might not
White.
be the best in coverage, but teams shouldn't be running on us. I mean, come on. If
That's
we're not stopping the run, then we got to look at our defensive coordinator after a while.
And that's the biggest thing I'm worried about. Is like that run game, that run defense, because they was getting torn up during preseason, but hopefully it was just preseason. And we got a crazy matchup this week. But that linebacker unit, I agree with you on that though. But before we get into that, real quick, I seen a funny ass comment. He said, "The good stuff said we haven't had a difficult cut in decades." Hey, that's true. 'Cause I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, but it depends on which fans you ask, because some fans will be like, "It's the end of the world when we cut people."
But it's because we've grown an attachment to a lot of these players, and I'll be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of players that we cut. I'm like, damn, man, Nate Hobbs, damn, Jack Jones, damn. But then after that, you kind of get over it after a while, right? So
Hey, it's funny that the Packers are a championship team now, and they have Nissan and Nate Hobbs as their starting defensive backs. Like, I'm like, championship team. I've seen this before.
who said that?
That's my little Packer hate right there. Little.
Stupid. But that being said, though, man, we got a big matchup this week. I mean, I think it's big. This is two teams that has signed so many different players. We got a lot of moving pieces on both sides. New England and even the Raiders. Josh McDaniels is taking his jabroni ass back over there to New England. So I know for a fact he's gonna try to do whatever he can to whoop the Raiders this year and just kind of give it back to him. One time for the one time. But are you worried about Josh McDaniels this week? Because we know Josh McDaniels the head coach ain't shit. But Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, is a whole different story. And one thing that he does real well is, helping that running game out, especially a running back by committee, and knowing what New England has right now, and they got one my favorite running back in this year's draft that could possibly pop off. But I want to get your thoughts on this game.
Your favorite running back? Oh, your favorite running back is who in this
My
year's
favorite,
draft?
Ashton Gentius. Ashton Jesse, my favorite running back. Come on. I always wanted him, no matter how big or tall or small. I think this is a good matchup for the Raiders because even though week one, you don't want to put too much, eggs in one basket for week one because it could go one way or the other. I think this is a huge must-win game for the Raiders. And like your hat says, make the Raiders great again. We need to start this week against the Patriots. But how do you feel about this week, Oos?
I've been going back and forth on it because Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, two great coaches in this league. I think, and a lot of people were like, "Hey, Mike Vrabel should be the head coach of the Raiders," right? Remember that was the talk in the offseason too. That people wanted Ben Johnson or Pete Carroll. I think Pete Carroll was like some people's third option. But you got that going. Mike Vrabel is a great guy, and Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, when they go against each other, most of the time it's a 3-point game. I made a video, I think yesterday or the day before, about Josh McDaniels, that I am worried about Josh McDaniels because Josh McDaniels hired Patrick Graham as his defense coordinator. And people are like, well, you could use the same logic backwards. Well, I think Josh McDaniels as a head coach has more on what his defensive guy knows more about your defensive guys. And there was never been a question of if Josh McDaniels knows the X's and O's of football. He just sucks as a head coach. He can't relate to his players. But as an offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
he can do like if you talk to any player that ever played for Josh McDaniels, they say he lays it out for you. He says, if you do exactly this, this is what's going to happen. This guy will be here, and you're going to hit it. So Josh McDaniels as an offensive coordinator, as an offensive genius in the league, is very good. And and it's only been a year since he's been out of this building. He knows some of this theme. He knows Max Crosby. He knows Patrick Graham and how to attack him. If Pete Carroll hasn't got Patrick Graham to change some of the stuff that the play calling and the way he does it, that it could be a worrisome. And of course, getting fired on Halloween night with your kids out trick or treating.
Damn.
Right?
Yeah, damn.
That's going to get you to be like, hey, screw these guys, and he's going to come out here and traveling to the East Coast. I know it's week one, but West Coast teams always traveling to the East Coast, playing an early game. Sometimes that affects the body. Sometimes we haven't always done well in games like that. So there's a lot of concerns. But the Patriots are starting 2 young guys on their offensive line that Max Crosby should be able to eat on
Yeah.
and have a great time on. I'm not really 100% sold on the New England Patriots wide receiver core. I know Steve, they got even Stephon Diggs. He's coming back from an injury. So I think we should be all right with our defensive backs. Like if you, like you said, if you want a good week 1 opponent, this is a good one for us because we match up pretty damn well with them.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like we got all the pieces here to show out, and this is going to be a game to at least show that the not only the Raiders and the Raider fans, but the whole NFL that the Raiders are the real deal. At least to start off pretty strong, and we're the underdogs going into this game, Moose, and that's the way I like it. When nobody's expecting us to do anything, that's when we actually do something. So I'm excited for that, man. Shout out Accelerator, man. Ain't no Raider like Samoanraider. Come on now, or
Ain't
Joe
no
Raider.
Raider.
Yeah, but what
Honestly, I like that prediction right there.
which one? He said, "Oh,
He said
oh yeah, 95."
95.
I see that happening. It was, with the offense that we have, bro. I think we should be good. I said earlier, talking about the running back. I think I want to ask you this too, but I'm gonna tell you, like, what is something that you're looking forward to watching, like, or one player, or what's one thing that you're looking forward to watching? And one thing I'm really nervous about, honestly, is, like I said earlier, that run defense, because they looked horrible during preseason. And Travion Henderson, I love the this running back just coming out of the draft. He can do everything, and we've seen a little bit of what Travion Henderson could do in preseason. So I'm hoping that the Raiders don't, just let these dudes run all over us, because then it's going to be a long, long day for us if they can't stop the run, because it's going to be Henderson. I believe Ramondre should be playing this week too. So it's going to be a tough one. But as far as a player that I'm really looking forward to watching this week for the Raiders, definitely is Ashton Genty and Geno Smith, because we finally got a quarterback, I guess, since Derek Carr, that actually is a solid quarterback and somebody that can at least manage a game well, and he's real accurate. We've seen a lot of great balls from him, especially at open practice at the mock game. Just watching it, and this dude just really looks like that dude out there, and even at preseason. So pause on that whole thing. But those are 2 players that I'm really looking forward to watching, just to see their debut and the silver and black. But for you, who's a player or players that you're looking forward to watching in this game?
Well, I think it all comes down to Ashton Genty, right? Because when you take a running back and you take a skilled position at number 6 overall, you better produce. And we can't give you that excuse. Like, you can't go, my offensive line sucks or whatever. You have to go out there and you have to show up, and that's that. Like when I was watching the draft and the Raiders took Ashton Genty, and I was just like shaking my head, going, "What are we doing?" Because we already knew we had the issues on the offensive line. We already knew we were going to have some troubles there. Ashton Genty's a good guy, but when you hand the ball off, like, especially with our questions at our wide receiver core right now, what's going to stop them from stacking the box against Ashton Genty this week?
True.
Like a couple years ago, I talked. Darren Waller told me, when Darren Waller was on this team, and he said, "Nobody." This is his words. Nobody's afraid of our wide receivers. And he goes, they would stack the boxes against Josh Jacobs and just go to town on him. And I was like, that's the same way I look at it right now, because even the way that Dante Thornton plays, that Thornton plays, even Jakobi Meyers, they don't get the separation that could warrant double team, right? Like, I don't see a team going, let's double team these guys. No, they beat us one time. But I don't see anybody being too scared of our wide receiver core right now, where they're going to be like, I think they're more scared of Brock Bowers or Ashton Genty, where they'll be like, but we can stack the box on these guys and go to town on them.
No, yeah. I think for a fact, like, as long as the Raiders get a good lead early on, we should be okay. And we could just keep running the ball. But now that we got so many weapons here, even Brock Bowers over here with Geno Smith, I think we have a complete offense. It's just defense that I'm kind of worried about going into this game. But that being said, like, what is a key matchup for you in this game? I know, and one thing is that I heard is Christian Gonzalez might not even play in this game, so Maybe
Yeah,
that's a
he's
good thing
hurt.
for the Raiders, the Raiders wide receiver group, whether or not we have Jakobi Meyers out there.
Yeah, he has a hamstring injury, so he might not play. But I think one thing we're missing is our offensive line against Milton Williams. Like he's a very good guy, and he can get in there and cause some stuff. Like I don't know. I'm trying to like look at the matchups. Like
Yeah.
I think like it's all, and then we want to see what Chip Kelly can do, right? But I want to see our offensive line. Like if our offensive line can't stop anybody and they can't provide like find the matchups or find the schemes to be able to help them out with the blocking system, then it's going to be a long ass season, no matter who we have in Brock Bowers or anything like that. And one of my favorite guys this year, and I think he's being overlooked right now, is Michael Mayer, because everybody's going to focus on who? Brock Bowers. They're going to focus on the other guys.
Yeah.
And who should be sitting there wide open? Mayor. We went like everybody talked about 11 personnel last year, like with Antonio
Pierce.
Pierce and Luke Getsy. They were like 11 personnel, 11 personnel. This year we haven't heard Raider fans talk about it. That was like the it thing last year. Well, guess what? The Raiders ran a shitload of in preseason this year, and probably ran more of it this year in preseason than we've seen last year. The 11 personnel.
No, yeah. No, for sure. And that's exciting. I'm excited because we are going into a season now with both of our tight ends healthy. Michael Mayer, he's still a dog, bro, and I'm happy that they kept him around, to be honest with you. Do you see the Raiders coming out of this one with a win? That's a big thing. And I know, like, putting bias aside, do you really think that the Raiders can come out with this win, going 1-0 after week 1?
So I've been going back and forth on it, and in my head, I'm like, it's going to be like I think both teams are matched up. I think Drake May's a really good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Raiders don't win this game, they have the Chargers on Monday night, and they got like Washington Commanders the next night. Like they could fall 0-3 quick, right? And then
Yeah.
people will be calling for Pete Carroll's head. I do like at first I was like, no, I think the Patriots are going to win, but I've now changed it where I think the Raiders, and I've looked at it and I'm looking at it more. I think the Raiders do win this game. My first prediction was 27-13. I think that's too much. So I'm going to go 27-16 ish around there. But I do think the Raiders have enough to be able to pull this one out.
Oh, man, I'm agreeing with you on that too. I see the Raiders scoring 27. I said this on the round table that I was on, I think yesterday. I had the Raiders winning 27, but like 27-17 or 27. Yeah, 27-17. So I see the Raiders putting up a lot of points. It's just the defense that I'm kind of worried about. But from what we've seen from that first team defense, they look real good, and I feel like they could compete with anybody out there, to be honest with you. But yeah, I feel like this year is going to be a big year. Oh, you know what? I never got to talk to you about that. What are you? How do you feel about this Raiders team this year? Do you feel confident in them? Give me your record prediction, and also give me like a hot what's that called? What do you call those? It's slipping my mind when you a hot take for the season. What do we call that?
Yeah.
That shit is just
Yeah. No, you're good. Like I'm not as high on this team as everybody else is, and I'm wondering if that's because every other year I've been like, hey, we're going to the ship, we're doing this, and this year I'm just like, take that step back, try to be more realistic. But I'm also looking at our depth chart, and we saw it during preseason. If one of our starters go down, holy crap, we're going to be hurting, right? We're going to like that depth isn't there. Hey, one thing that I do love about this team this year, a young team. Like I think we're the 8th youngest team in the NFL or something like that. Like
yeah.
when have we been on that bottom side for a while? Like it's good to have some young players in here that are going to be able to learn the system and be able to learn on the fly. But when you have young players, you have dumb mistakes, and that happens. And I like people are like, our schedule is good, and yes, it is an easy schedule according to what it was last year. But the traveling of the schedule, we have the least amount of rest days of any other team in the NFL. And you can say what you want about that, but that's rest days are like in between games, like going from Monday night to Sunday night or stuff like that. Like that we have, and then our opponents have have the most rest days. Like starting this week, the Chargers play Friday, then we play them on Monday night. We play Sunday, so they got 2 more days extra than we do. Just little stuff like that adds up. But I have the Raiders going 7-10 this year. And I know people don't like it,
Ooh.
but to me, that's a step forward in the right direction. And I see us losing games at the end of games. Just you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
7-10 with a chance of going 9-8. Or getting that 10th win, because there are some games that could flip and flop right there. But I have them going 7-10, and the people don't like that. But we're in a really tough division, right? We're in
Yeah.
a really tough division. We're playing some really tough teams this year, and we're learning on the go on a new system, and we're still a young team with no depth. So that's why I have them going 7-10. But like I said, my surprise this year, my one
Bold prediction.
breakout player or hot take is Michael Mayer will have 7 touchdowns this year at least.
Oh, I like that. I like that. More. Is that more than Bowers gets?
I would say yes.
Oh, I like that. I like that because
I think
I
the over under on Bowers this year is 6.5, right? Something like that.
for Bowers
For
touchdown.
Bowers, when I think I looked it up, I think it was over under.
I think that,
But like 7 to 9 wins as a Raider fans, we got to take that. Like we got to be excited for that. Like it's anywhere between 7 and 9, putting us close to playoff contention. Like if we're hanging around playoff contention towards December, like you're not going to be happy with that. Like in year one of Pete Carroll and John Spytek, like I think we have to be excited
yeah.
for that, and like especially if our offense is performing and we're seeing like, and we're hanging in games, and we're not. What we don't want is to get blown out like we have been. We don't want to be losing by 20 points
True.
at halftime where we're like, all right, turn this shit off. I'm fucking done.
I think somebody say you mean 11-7. Nah. Hey, I hope so.
That's a playoff game then. So
That is a playoff game, and I like the I guess the mindset you're going into the season, because that's exactly the same way I'm going into the season as, because these last years, ever since I moved to Vegas and started doing predictions, man, I kept saying that we're gonna win 12, 11, and we haven't come close to either of those. Zeus. So it kind of sucks to say that this year, because we know that there's a lot more hope this year than the last couple of regimes that we've had over here. But I think it's totally. I think there's a lot that goes behind that, and I understand it. I'm on the same notion, because I feel like as long as the Raiders are competitive this year and every game is competitive, then we should be okay. I'll be happy with that. If we come out of the game like, oh damn, we could have won that game, or the game that we look good, we just didn't win it. Outside of last year when we were just getting rocked left and right, and we just had nothing to show for it. But I just have more wins than you. I think I have 8 wins, 8, 9 wins. It's close, but I could see the Raiders winning, maybe sneaking into a wild card spot, and hopefully maybe we surprise everybody this year. Some people are expecting the Raiders to finish 4th yet again in the AFC West, but I'm telling you this. That's one thing I feel like we're not going to finish is last. It's going to be the Broncos or the Chargers. Fuck them. But I feel real good. I feel real good about the season, but I just don't want to hype them up too much, even though I have been. But yeah.
Well, it's hard not to believe in what Pete Carroll's telling. Like Pete Carroll, and like, here's my favorite quote this year, and not to be a hater or anything, but like that. But Pete Carroll is always thrown out there this year. I've won 10 games for 20 plus seasons.
He has,
like,
bro.
Stop the cap, man. Stop the cap, bro. Like I've seen your records. It's person like
for us.
Like
he said he's won 9 or 10 games, almost like
no. He said he wins 10 or more games a season for 20 plus years. Like, come on.
Has he not?
Like I want to get behind you, but
has he not?
Honest. Like,
has he not?
No.
I believe it because that's what he says. And I'm going to believe you, Pete. I'm going to believe everything you say. You're a fake fan if you don't believe in Pete. People say, I love them. Hey, everybody loves the Hatters, but to say 7 wins is crazy.
Well, because this is hype season, right? Nobody wants to hear anything bad about their team going into week 1. Nobody wants to. And really, we don't. Even after week 1, even if the Raiders come out here and they blow the Patriots out, we still won't know what this team is about until about week 4, week 5. That's when you start really noticing. Like when you get, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks for the NFL to catch up to you on film. So when they start seeing the Chip Kelly offense, they start seeing what we're running. that's when we start seeing when the adjustments are made around week 4, week 5, and that's when you start seeing if your team is actually going to be able to compete or not. And so, and week 1, how many times have we seen shit happen week 1, and then all of a sudden, like we're like, oh damn, that team blew them out 32-0, and then that team goes 1-15. That was like their one win.
Yeah, bro. We talked about this yesterday. Like the first week is basically an extension of the preseason. It was because you don't really take a lot into that. A lot of people don't know what team they're going to see in week 1. Heck, we seen the Raiders when we had Jimmy G win against the Broncos, and we was like, oh shit. And we had like a 7-win season. It was horrible all over. We seen Derek Carr last year with the Saints, right? Would go 2-0.
Oh, yeah.
Blow out 2 teams, and have one of the highest scoring teams. I was like, oh, Carr's back, and that shit derailed like a motherfucker, bro. So it's hard. Yeah, go ahead.
What they say, they stopped the crime rate in New Orleans for 2 weeks. That's how good they were doing.
I don't know, but that's just how funny as fuck, though. But I understand your point, because I want the Raiders to win. I think everybody wants the Raiders to win just to start off the season right. But that doesn't mean that that's going to be the team that we see at the end of the year. We just got to see that consistency and that competitiveness all throughout the season with every team that we face. So, I'm just hoping that we see that 10-win team that Pete Carroll's been talking about. But as long as they look competitive, like I said before, I'm totally happy with that. But, with that said, of course, I feel like we both are expecting a win this week. We're expecting a lot of good things from the Raiders this year. Not really expecting like an undefeated season, but we're going to be competing for sure. Yo, chill. Hey,
let me throw this out there.
Chill. Huh?
Let me throw this out there.
Go ahead.
Pete Carroll has never lost his debut with a new team.
Oh, I seen that. Yeah.
Debut game. Yeah. That's why I was double checking it just to make sure. But I was like, before I throw it out there, let me double check. But I was like, yep, with the Jets he won, with the Patriots he won, with the Seattle he won. So, and somebody was telling me he did it with USC too. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't have that stat in front of me, but I did check the NFL ones right now.
Hey.
So Pete Carroll has never lost that game, his debut game with the NFL team.
Well, hey, we can expect to win this week. Kamo says, can we just act like we're going to go 17-0? Hell yeah. I think this is the only time we can think that.
17-0, baby. We're winning every game.
You a big fan, if you don't think. Go ahead.
So 20-0, basically, because we're winning the Super Bowl, right?
Oh,
we're going to go 17-0 regular season,
that's true.
Undefeated in the playoffs, and win. We're going to win and celebrate in San Francisco on their field in Levi Stadium.
Oh, that's gonna be a feel. Hey, I really do feel like we'll be there. We'll be there, and at Levi Stadium during the Super Bowl. I just don't know who we're gonna play though, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, everybody's been asking me. They go, give me your Super Bowl prediction. I go, all right. It's the Raiders versus whoever wants to lose to them. Then that's all I gotta say.
I like that. There we go. Hot take. We beating the Eagles. I think we're gonna beat. Yo, Dior. Hey, we're gonna beat everybody. Don't even worry about it. They all gonna go get smashed. But yeah, man, I appreciate the Oops Joe for hopping on to. This is the first time I had a guest. Like I'm gonna try to do this every single week and have different guests. But of course, you guys see Joe. He's gonna be probably a recurring guest here and there whenever he can make it, though. But Oos, let the people know where they can find you.
The Joe Morley on all platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Wherever you want. I'm on there talking bullshit and having a good time, and just laugh about it, because don't take everything serious that I say. I'm very sarcastic.
And I feel like, it's funny. Some people really take a lot of this stuff seriously. Like, I know I'm a content creator. I don't even act like I'm an analyst, whether I talk to Raider players or not. Like, I'm just a fan at the end of the day. And then, Joe, we always be fucking around, even with the content. Some people take that shit literal. Like, I say people are my cousin, like all my Usos. Like, of course, Samoans, Tongans, whatever. We're all cousins. We family some way or another. And I always say that. People are like, oh, he just wants to say that's his cousin for clout. He's always trying to. I'm like, bro, it's not even that. Like, chill, bro. It's not that serious. We just fucking around. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you don't think that the Raiders are gonna win the Super Bowl and go 17-0, then you're a fake fan. Sorry to say it. Content creator, influencers, heck, even Joe, like whoever whoever says we're not gonna win 17 games or 20 games, you ain't a
Yeah.
real fan, man. And then after that, if we lose the first game, then if we're not winning 16 games, and it just keeps going on and on and on. But we
A
got.
lot of people are asking about the hat. I found this hat in Lot J. There's a guy that sells it in Lot J
King
at the
Raider,
tailgates.
yeah.
But you could also get it King Raider merch on Instagram. King Raider merch on Instagram. But yeah, I always grab a hat like this. I saw it I think it was last year I started wearing it. Or probably the year before I probably started wearing it. I saw it and I threw it on, started wearing it in videos, and everybody was like, there it is. And
Oh,
it's
hold
been
on.
a hat that I've always. But King Raider merch on Instagram, unless the Raiders shut them down, because sometimes when you use the Raider, where is it? Raider stuff. Yeah, I think AJ's right. Everybody call it. Oh, there you go. There you go.
I still got mine that he gave me like years ago. But look at, damn.
Yeah,
People
I
say,
got
why
the
you?
dirty one. I got the clean one. And like, I don't know. People always.
Yeah, people say, why you don't clean your hats, Tus?
You know why I don't clean my hat? It shows that I've been doing business in this. I've been marching in this at Raider games. I've been walking around it, and I'm a fat fuck, dude. Like I sweat. Like nobody sweats no more. Or what?
bro, my shit. This one dirty too. I was wearing it at work. Well, but you know, gotta represent. I think Pete Carroll's gonna make the Raiders great again for sure. But yeah, man. Oh, shout out Allegiance up in the building right now. He says, I thought I was part of the poly community because I had 2 girlfriends. Come to find out, that's not what Samoanraider man. Stupid. Yo, that's hilarious. But hey, I appreciate. Hey, you gonna go to any games? Or are you gonna go to the home opener?
I'll be there the home opener, yeah, and then I'm gonna try to go as many times as I can. So
Hey, Oos, have you ever thought about doing like the Peter Griffin thing? Like
yeah,
Raider Griffin or some shit like that. That'd be O's. That should be hilarious. But the O's, the make the Raider is great hat is like your thing. You wear that with the white shirt, the green the green pants and shit.
yeah, that one, and you know, I would say Raider fans. Like people always ask me to say that.
Yeah.
But like I've noticed that if I wear the make the Raider, more people recognize me. But you can't be giving like I've been looking for that Peter Griffin stuff. Since I'm a big guy, it's hard to find the pants. But once I find the green pants, it's on, bro. It's on.
It's on Amazon, Oos. Bro, you look like Peter Griffin. Yeah, that'd be hilarious, Oos. But for sure, Oos, I'll catch you at the game. I know you're gonna go to a lot of games, of course, Raidernation. You can catch Joe, the rest of the Raiderverse. Catch me. Oh, AJ Simpson said that Raider Griffin would be tough, Oos. Hey, it's my ideas there, Oos. And to get my
now you're gonna be asking for a percentage of it, and now I got
royalties. Oos. This shit ain't free, Oos. All these ideas. Who you think gave Mr. Fitz his identity, Oos? Come on. Oh shit, I was joking. But hey, shout out to the chat. If you guys haven't already, man, please hit that not only the subscribe button, but hit that like button. Also follow Joe Morley at the Joe Morley, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it is, man. He's there, and we'll be at the game. Home openers, man. I cannot wait. There's gonna be a lot of shit talking next week, especially for the Charger fans and your homeboy NFL Mike. But that being said, until next time, we are yeah.